Can you imagine Arsenal finally surpassing their Premier League demons in 2026? After 3 straight seasons as runner-ups, Mikel Arteta's revolution could reach its peak. But standing in their way is Arne Slot's Liverpool, a machine built to dominate. With Salah still lethal, Wirtz orchestrating attacks, and Van Dijk marshalling an elite defense, the Reds look unstoppable. But Arsenal's summer signings, Gyokeres, Madueke, and Zubimendi, could be the missing pieces. This is the tactical battle that could define an era.
I am absolutely loving what they've done in this summer transfer window.
Arsenal's 3 consecutive second-place finishes weren't just near misses, they were necessary steps in Arteta's long-term project.
Arsenal. So recently, the second prize takers, but are Arsenal ready to lay claim to the title themselves this time around?
Each season saw them refine their playing style and close the gap to the top, even when they fell short. The 2024-25 campaign perfectly illustrated this progression and its limitations. They controlled matches better than ever, averaging 58% possession and creating 2.9 big chances per game. But their conversion rate told a different story. They missed 1.8 of those clear opportunities per match, leaving too many points on the table in drawn games they should have won. The numbers reveal why they couldn't take the final step. Despite having the league's best defense, just 34 goals conceded in 38 matches, their attack couldn't compensate. They scored only 1.8 goals per game, a rate that simply doesn't win titles against opponents like Liverpool. The problem wasn't chance creation, it was finishing. Too often, dominant performances yielded just a single goal, or frustrating draws. Arteta knew exactly what was missing, a ruthless number 9 who could turn dominance into results. That's why Viktor Gyokeres' arrival changes everything. His 54 goals in 52 games last season show he's the clinical presence Arsenal lacked. Early signs are promising. In pre-season, Arsenal converted 18% more big chances with him leading the line. His movement creates space for Saka and Martinelli, while his physicality gives them an outlet against deep defenses. He's not just a finisher, he's the focal point Arteta's system needed to evolve. Arteta's tactical flexibility now has its perfect weapon. Last season, he alternated between 4-4-2 and 4-3-3 depending on the opponent, but often lacked the personnel to maximize either approach. Gyokeres changes that. In a 4-3-3, he occupies centre-backs, freeing the wingers. In a 4-4-2, his partnership with Havertz offers both aerial threat and link-up play. This versatility makes Arsenal less predictable and more dangerous against varied opposition. The question isn't whether Arsenal have improved, it's whether it's enough. Liverpool's €500 million overhaul means the bar keeps rising. Gyokeres needs to deliver 20-plus league goals to justify the faith in him as the missing piece. But the early evidence does suggest that Arsenal finally have the firepower to match their defensive solidity. Last season's second-place finish wasn't a failure, it was the foundation. Now, with their attack upgraded, they're positioned to challenge, not just for results, but for the title itself. What makes this Arsenal squad different isn't just Gyokeres, it's how he fits into a team that's been building towards this moment. The defense remains elite, the midfield balances creativity and control, and now the attack has its spearhead. They're no longer nearly men, they're contenders built to last. But as we'll see next, Liverpool's rebuild under Slot ensures this won't be a straightforward battle. The Reds haven't stood still either. Arne Slot didn't just maintain Klopp's legacy at Liverpool, he reshaped it. The team's 15-game unbeaten run to start the season shows they haven't lost momentum since the transition. Slot kept the core of Klopp's pressing system, but added more control in build-up play. Liverpool now attack with the same intensity, but can also slow the game down when needed. This balance makes them less predictable and harder to defend against. Opponents can't just sit deep or press high. Liverpool adjust to either approach. The €500 million overhaul addressed every weakness in the squad. Wirtz, Gyokeres, Ekitike, and Frimpong weren't just signings, they were targeted solutions. Wirtz alone changes how Liverpool attacks. His 12 assists last season came from a mix of through balls, crosses, and set pieces. He plays like a hybrid of a classic number 10 and a modern wide playmaker, drifting between lines to find space. Salah's numbers haven't dropped either. His movement and finishing remain elite as he adapts to a slightly deeper role. Together, they form the most creative attack in the league. Defensively, Liverpool improved by being smarter, not just stronger. Van Dijk's leadership organises the backline, while Konaté's pace covers for their high line. Slot's system uses fullbacks differently. They stay deeper in build-up, reducing the risk of counters. The midfield double pivot of Gravenberch and McAllister offer both physicality and distribution. Gravenberch breaks up play with his positioning, while McAllister dictates tempo. It's a partnership built to control games against any style of opposition. But there are vulnerabilities. Arsenal's speed could exploit Liverpool's high defensive line, especially if Martinelli or Saka isolate the fullbacks. Wirtz excels against compact defences, but hasn't yet faced a midfield as disciplined as Arsenal's when they're organised. The signing of Ekitike adds another dimension in attack, but he's still adjusting to the league's physicality. Slot's system also demands intense pressing from the forwards, which could test Salah's stamina again over a full season. Liverpool's depth gives them an edge in a long campaign. They can rotate without dropping quality, something Arsenal struggles with beyond their starting 11. Slot isn't afraid to change formations either. He's used 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, and even a diamond midfield depending on the opponent. This adaptability makes them favourites, but Arsenal's summer business closed the gap. The title race might come down to the two managers outthinking each other in key moments. Slot's tactical tweaks, they've made Liverpool more complete, but Arsenal now has the tools to respond. The key battles will be in midfield and transitions. If Arsenal can disrupt Liverpool's build-up, they can force mistakes. But if Liverpool's press isolates Arsenal's defenders, Salah and Wirtz have the quality to punish them. Van Dijk's dominance in the air could neutralise Gyokeres, but one mistimed challenge changes everything. These margins decide titles, and both teams have the firepower to capitalise. Liverpool's reinvention under Slot makes them slight favourites. But Arsenal's improvements, it means they're closer than ever to ending their wait. The tactical battle between Arteta and Slot isn't just about two managers, it's a collision of philosophies. Arteta's Arsenal relies on possession and overloads in a fluid 4-3-3, dominating games by controlling tempo and creating structured attacks. Slot's Liverpool, meanwhile, blends Klopp's pressing intensity with a more measured build-up, switching seamlessly between quick transitions and patient probing. The difference shows in the numbers. Arsenal average 58% possession per game, while Liverpool rank higher in direct attacks and progressive carries. This contrast, it sets up a fascinating chess match. Will Arsenal's control neutralise Liverpool's explosiveness, or will the Reds' adaptability break Arteta's system? Arsenal's high press could be their best weapon, or their biggest risk. When timed right, it disrupts Liverpool's build-up before Wirtz or Salah can isolate defenders. But one mistimed step leaves them exposed, particularly against Salah's diagonal runs behind the fullbacks. Arteta has drilled his team to press in coordinated units, but Liverpool's midfields are experts at breaking lines with one-touch passes. Last season, Liverpool completed 12.3 passes per defensive action against high presses, the second best record in the league. If Arsenal commit too many men forward, Liverpool's counters become deadly. The individual battles could decide the outcome. Saka versus Salah pits youth against experience. Saka's explosive dribbling tests Salah's aging legs, but the Egyptian's movement and finishing remain elite. In midfield, Odegaard and Wirtz duel for control. Wirtz averages 2.8 key passes per game to Odegaard's 2.3, but the Arsenal captain dictates play with his professional discipline. Both creators thrive in tight spaces, but Wirtz's versatility, he can drift wide or operate centrally, makes him harder to mark. Arsenal's double pivot of Rice and Zubimendi must limit his time on the ball. Then there's Gyokeres versus Van Dijk, a clash of styles that could define close games. Van Dijk wins 78% of his aerial duels, but Gyokeres' relentless physicality makes him a nightmare in sustained battles. The Swede doesn't just challenge for headers, he pins defenders, creates space for runners, and scores from half chances. Van Dijk's positioning usually negates strikers like this, but Gyokeres' movement between centre-backs could force him into uncomfortable decisions. If Van Dijk steps up to intercept, Gyokeres can spin behind. If he holds his line, the striker has room to link play. The margins lie in midfield control and chance conversion. Liverpool's Klavenberg and McAllister provide steel and creativity, but Arsenal's trio offers better defensive coverage. Slot's system occasionally leaves gaps between midfield and defense when fullbacks push high. Arteta could exploit this by overloading the wings, using Zinchenko's inverted runs to free Martinelli in channels. For Liverpool, Wirtz's ability to find Salah's runs between Arsenal's centre-backs will test Saliba's recovery speed. Both teams create quality chances, Arsenal through intricate build-up, Liverpool via transitions, but finishing separates contenders from champions. Gyokeres' arrival improved Arsenal's conversion rate, but Liverpool's attackers, they have proven track records in big games. The team that manages these tactical nuances best and wins the key individual battles gains the upper hand. Arteta needs his system to function perfectly. Slot can rely on individual brilliance within a flexible framework. That difference might decide who lifts the trophy. This isn't just a title race, it's a test of which footballing philosophy prevails at the highest level. For Arsenal, the 2026 season represents more than just another title challenge. It's an opportunity to join the rarest company in Premier League history. The shadow of the Invincibles looms over every Arsenal team, but this squad carries a unique burden. Matching that legendary 2004 campaign would transform Arteta's project from promising to historic, placing him alongside Wenger's greatest achievement. The parallels are there, a mix of emerging young talent and seasoned leaders, a clear tactical identity, and that same relentless competitiveness. Martinelli and Saka now resemble the young Pires and Ljungberg, while Saliba's defensive dominance channels Campbell's aura. But recognition only comes with results, and Liverpool's continued success threatens to overshadow Arsenal's progress unless they lift the trophy. Liverpool approach this season with their own legacy in play. For Salah and Van Dijk, it's about cementing their era as the club's greatest since the 1980s dominance. Each trophy adds to their case, and Slot's seamless transition from Klopp has only strengthened their momentum. Where Arsenal chase history, Liverpool aim to extend theirs. Another title would make 4 in 9 years, a run that echoes Ferguson's Manchester United at their peak. The psychological edge matters too. They know how to win tight races, while Arsenal's recent setbacks linger in memory. For all of Arteta's tactical innovations, trophies remain the ultimate validation. The wild card could be Max Daumann. At just 15 years old, he's already been called the best in his age group, not just in London or England, but the entire world. His technical quality, vision, and fearlessness set him apart, with a playing style reminiscent of Kaka in his prime. Daumann was controlling games before he hit puberty, and while he's not yet a regular starter, his cameos suggest a game-changing talent waiting for his moment. In a tight title race, one moment of magic from him could be decisive. Liverpool have no equivalent. Their strength lies in established stars, while Arsenal's faith in youth could pay off unexpectedly. The stakes extend beyond silverware. For Arsenal, winning would justify the patience shown in Arteta's project and erase years of near misses. It would prove their model. Blending academy products with strategic signings can compete with football's elite. For Liverpool, another title reinforces their status as England's dominant force and validates Slot's evolution of their style. The weight of expectation, that differs too. Arsenal carry the hope of matching icons, while Liverpool shoulder the pressure of maintaining standards. Both squads face defining moments, but only one can emerge with their place in history secured. This season isn't just about point tallies or head-to-head results, it's about which club writes its next chapter on its own terms. Arsenal aim to recapture past glory, Liverpool to build on modern dominance. The parallels to historic teams adds depth to every match, every tactical adjustment, every key performance. When the final whistle blows, one side won't just celebrate a title, they'll cement a legacy that could define them for decades. The pressure is immense, but so is the potential reward. That's what makes this more than a title race. It's a battle for how these clubs will be remembered. The 2026 title race will likely come down to the finest margins. Maybe a clutch Gyokeres finish, Van Dijk's commanding presence in a decisive moment, or Wirtz unlocking a tight defense with one perfect pass. Premier League history shows how slim these differences can be. This isn't just about silverware, it's about which club shapes the next decade of English football.